And then there came a day like many others. The Best Flarking Podcast. Your nerd's eye view of TV, film, comics, and video games. With you as always, your mother flarking hosts, Dunners and Reach. Fellas, show them who they're flarking with.
Hello, good people of the multiverse. It is that time again. It's the Best Flarking Podcast. It is November 7th, 2016. This is episode 35. And by this time that you're listening to it, hopefully Donald Trump isn't president. So congratulations, Hillary, for winning. Prayers and whatever. Fucking fuck Donald Trump. If you're going to yuck someone's yum, feel free to yuck Trump's yum. We changed our motto. This episode is going to be a little bit shorter than normal because what we're talking about this week is one thing and one thing only, and that's a very spoiler-filled Doctor Strange review. So if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, you probably should save this one. But just, because you're wanting to hear something, go back and listen to one of the old ones.
Yeah. Those are there.
Go back.
They exist.
Go back and listen to one of the old ones. Or, go buff our view counts on YouTube or whatever. So without further ado, I'm Dunners.
And I'm Reed.
And we do this thing together, so let's fucking get down to it, I guess.
I think we're both still a little out of it from Extra Life.
Well, I mean, you are probably more out of it than me because I ended up getting got sidetracked with work-related deadlines that they shifted, and I ended up getting kind of borked out of my stream. I was like, cool, I got 6 good hours in, and then it's like, hey, guess what? We moved the deadline to tomorrow. I'm like, I'm doing the charity thing today. And they're like, well, it has to get done or else we're not going to get you paid. And I was like, well, I guess I have to stop for now.
Kids or my livelihood.
Yeah. Other kids or my kids. And sadly, I had to choose my kids.
Totally understandable, bro. I rocked out all 24 hours. And
yeah, well, I mean, you and Sarah did great. I came back and I'm like, hey, look, I got $25, and it's like, wow, Nick's got $750 and Sarah's got $2,000. I most certainly am not covering any of that ground.
I rocked out
any time that I get
$890 by the end of it, and I was like,
there you go, man.
I'm shooting for $1,000 next year. Hell yeah, man!
Yeah,
thank you to everybody, anybody who donated, listening to the podcast. Thank you, everybody, so much. We'll get more involved with the Best Flarking Network next year. We'll
make something. Yeah, we'll make something cool that's specifically us. We'll have our own team.
Absolutely.
Next year, we probably won't. We'll probably still be on Ron Sayers' team, but we'll we'll have our own thing going on. It'll be like one of those the Debo moment in Friday where it's like if he says shut up, I'd be quiet, but when he leaves, I'd be talking again.
Just so look over.
It's definitely that
for sure.
But yeah, so we went and saw Doctor Strange last Thursday.
Boy, did we ever.
Yeah, and we went and saw it in the IMAX and in 3D so that there would be no discrepancies between the two of us seeing it after, the whole Ghostbusters thing.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, man, this is another one of those movies that you absolutely need to see in 3D and in IMAX because I don't think I want to go see it again any other way.
Yeah,
I'm going to plunk down my $18 again, and I'm going to see it in IMAX and in 3D because holy shit, the 3D just works so well for this film.
I agree 100%. And I might see it. I'm going to see it a second time in IMAX 3D again with my dad because that'll be his first 3D movie, and I can't wait to see his head explode in the theater.
That opening alone is going to blow his mind.
Oh, I know. The countdown that the theater does, or the beginning of Strange.
No, I mean that will blow his mind, but that will blow his mind in a bad way because
it's
as
so
someone who's
done weird.
Well, and the thing is that it's what's called it's too negative.
Okay.
So when things come out of this is industry speak for everyone.
Yes, educate us, please.
For when you do stereo projection, when you do 3D movies. When things go into the screen, that's called positive of screen plane. When things come out of the screen at you, that's called negative of screen plane. And those numbers that they do at the beginning of the AMC countdown, the numbers are so far negative that your eyes can't even focus on them as they're flying at you. Right. Because it's just like, oh, sweet God. So, really what you should be doing is they should be pushing everything more positive and then a little bit negative, so that way when it comes out of the screen, it looks really cool, as opposed to wow, this really hurts my eyes. and I'm taking a beating before I watch something in 3D that was actually done appropriately.
Well, actually, I'm really glad you explained that, because his biggest gripe with 3D is the shit coming out at you all the time, and I had to convince him that is not at all what 3D is in the 21st century.
The gimmicks are the gimmick of it flying out of the screen is for the most part dead. Or when they do things coming out of screen, they're for the most part are really tasteful, like in Ghostbusters, where it was fucking super dope.
Yep.
But as a throwback to that bygone era, those countdown at the movie theater is the fucking worst. Like as soon as it starts, I just pop my glasses back up on top of my head. I'm like, nope, you're not gonna you're not pummeling my eyeballs this time, cool. AMC.
I'll have to preface with that we'll take your glasses off for this part. Just hang on, and I'll put them back on.
And then put them back on.
But yeah, no, I'll see it in 3D again one more time. But I do think, because I'm gonna want to see it obviously more than twice in the theater. But I do think I will see it maybe a third, or fourth time outside of 3D, just for comparison purposes. For when I do actually end up owning it, because we both know there's no not owning this film for us.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure. But I mean, when I buy it, I'm going to buy it with the 3D copy because I have a 3D television.
I don't have that yet.
Yeah, so like, I mean, the next stop for me, like talking about television stuff, is because like right now it's either you can get a 4K TV for cheap, or you can get a 3D TV for cheap. But if you want them both, you're paying out the ass. And it's like, or if you want them both, you can get it for relatively inexpensively if you go with active glasses. But I'm not going to fucking wear active glasses because fuck all that noise.
Educate us again real quick.
Okay.
What are active glasses?
There are two different types of 3D. When you go to the movie theater and the glasses you don't have to put batteries into.
Yep.
Those are called passive glasses, meaning that the 3D is passively done through different polarization on the screen. So it allows you to see things with each of your eyes differently. So it's projecting two images onto the same screen, which is why it has that little split part. And the polarization in the lenses allows you to see one thing with one eye and one thing with the other eye, which is how we have depth of field.
Gotcha.
Now, active glasses have a strobing shutter that they show the same image and they flicker them. And they flicker at different levels, so that way your eyes are strobing. You can't tell because it's like lightning fast, but it's...
I was going to say, it sounds like a headache.
Yeah, you can't... there's no way you can tell. But they're heavy, and they're like... You have to put batteries in them, and it's just like it's a pain in the ass to have active glasses. So, like, I bought my LG TV right after I finished Man of Steel. And it was like, oh, it's a passive 3D 55-inch TV for $800 with a soundbar. You got my money.
Damn, hell yeah.
You've got my money. But now it's like, oh, 4K is coming. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of sweet to have some 4K
but
action.
Now you got to watch 4K with HDR support, and
it's true,
et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I mean, HDR support though is more helpful in video games and movies, I think.
Yes.
So
that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, but we digress.
We digress.
So Doctor Strange, just to get it right out of the way, is fucking incredible. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I'm hearing a lot of, or I guess a lot of the headlines that I've been reading are kind of sharing the same thought of, and granted, these people are paid to have their opinion put out there. So it's, take it for what it is. And they're genuinely following this, or generally following this consensus of almost superhero. I don't want to say, the wearing out of superheroes, but the same origin story being told again. Snarky guy has everything in the world taken away from him, goes on a quest of self reflection, gets powers, reigns victorious. And I'm just like, yeah, but that trope isn't necessarily exclusive to Marvel movies. Like that's or superheroes. Like that's that's what a lot of movies are genuinely, kind of geared towards. So it's like, I don't know. I fucking loved it.
So did I. I fucking like. Here's the thing about where I'm at with the whole, because like every time a Marvel movie comes out now, it's got the opposite of the DC effect, because DC is like they're looking for their first real home run, and these are just tired movies, and everyone's still optimistic that they're going to hit a home run. But Marvel's been winning for 14 movies in a row now.
Yeah.
And they're all good. I mean, they're not all great, and like the thing about comics is like it's good battles evil. Evil gets the upper hand, good overcomes it. That's just kind of like, it's a hero's journey kind of trope that happens in every single one of them, and almost every hero tale, really. If you're gonna look at giving someone some kind of incredible powers, that's just kind of how it works. Where it's like their greatness is thrust upon someone who isn't great. They deal with it, and then they come to accept who they are and vanquish whatever problems are in their way. It's just it's a simple story trope, and if you don't enjoy it, I mean that's
no, it really
you
is.
probably don't enjoy.
Let me hijack real quick, because we both looked at each other in the theater and just grinned with just anticipation and excitement. I think right after the new Marvel Studios reel there.
Oh my God, the fanfare is so dope.
The fanfare. So seeing those new cuts of what were in the films prior to this one, and the way that kind of all just unfolds into the new splash screen, just boom, Marvel Studios right there. It really gave you this feeling of like, holy shit, they're going to do this until they literally can't anymore. Like, this studio is going to produce film after film after film after film after film. This isn't Universal. This isn't Paramount. This isn't anything else. This is its own fucking thing. And all of these superheroes are going to be made real life under this studio for as long as they possibly can. Like, that was very rewarding to me as a fanboy and just moviegoer. That shit was incredible. And really set the tone for the film moving forward.
It was super dope. And can we talk about a little side note really quick, though? More Marvel stuff. For something that isn't a trailer, they sure as fuck showed it as a trailer at Doctor Strange.
Oh, the Guardians?
Yeah,
I
right?
know. I was even going, what?
Like, this isn't a trailer, okay?
I was like, wow, okay.
I was like, this trailer is approved. This trailer is approved for all audiences. Like, this really does seem like that Guardians footage. That most certainly isn't a trailer, I was told.
Yeah. That James Gunn has outwardly spoken about being a teaser and nothing else.
I was like, all right, fair enough, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like the stuff with Doctor Strange where it's like it really does, like, it does feel a lot like the first Iron Man.
Right.
Because I mean, they're very similar characters. They're both incredibly good at what they do. They're both pieces of shit, and they both get hurt, which leads them on a quest to fix themselves, but in different ways. Like, Tony realizes that his shit is being used to hurt other people. Steven realizes that he's been a self-centered prick his whole life and that he's not a very good person.
Yep.
And it's just the divergence there of how the heroes go about who they are. There's a million ways to skin a cat when it comes to telling that particular story, because there's always going to be something that happens to someone and leads them to somewhere else so they can get their powers. But that's, like, also especially it's really tough with these Silver and Golden Age superheroes, because it's like they all kind of have that same crank them out origin to get them there.
Oh, 100% they do.
And it's weird because, like, I wonder if these people who are like, oh, it's the same origin story again, is like, would it be better if they were just like the mutants where they were just born with their powers and who cares how they get them and how they deal with them? So it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
But my thought process is on this is like, Marvel's 14 movies in, 2 of them have been Avengers movies. 3 of them.
Not technically, but
well,
basically.
Two Avengers. I'm trying to count out the origins. So we got 2 Avengers movies.
Yep.
2 Cat movies that aren't origin. 2 Iron Man movies that aren't origin, and a Thor movie that isn't origin.
Yep.
So we have 7 other films that are all origins. And if you could create something that has relative similarities 7 times and dominate the way that you dominate, there's definitely something about the way you're telling these stories that works. And I feel like at this point, it's kind of that, like, it's cool to shit on Marvel movies now because they've fulfilled so much for so many, that, like, the counterculture thing that people like to do, where it's like, I don't really like comic movies. I think they're fucking super weak. All I like is Lars von Trier films. And it's just like, well, dude, yeah, there's a place for, like, high concept art films, and there's a fucking place for comic book movies. I'll tell you, like, I watch a ton of fucking high concept art films because I have to know what's going on in the film world, but I get my kicks watching fucking shit horror movies and comic book movies because I don't think that their B-movie origins or, B-movie art material belies them as something that can't be great as well. And I feel like we've gotten some genuinely great films out of the deal, and which leads me to talk about Mel Gibson because Gibson shit on
Oh.
Mel Gibson shit on DC a few weeks back by saying Batman vs Superman sucked and he didn't know where their money went. He then conversely decided to shit on Marvel this weekend.
Wait, how does he get an opinion on this? Like, what?
Well, it's because he is aside from being a monumental piece of shit, he is a fantastic fucking director. He's really talented.
Sure.
He just happens to be a giant piece of shit too. But the thing is he was like, they're talking about how does he worry about the level of violence in his movies, and he goes, well, he was like, look at any Marvel movie. There's more death and explosion to random innocent people in those movies than in any of my movies combined. He goes, the only real thing is in my movies you give a shit about the characters. So I mean, think about that.
Okay, Mel. Okay.
So I was just like, well, I mean, maybe you don't give a shit about the Marvel characters, but
Right. Speaking
I
of
most
which,
certainly give a shit.
again, little sidetrack because that just brought up something in my head that we didn't ever speak about. I don't think that Guardians movie or that Guardians little piece that they have the biggest death toll in any movie ever.
Yep, that they do.
What?
They sure do. I mean, look at all the Novas who die in that one sequence, man. Like there's a city being carpet bombed with like kamikaze spaceships.
Right, but is it not in direct contrast to his statement? Like,
oh yeah.
That's my point. Is there are that many people that die, but you give a shit so much about the characters that it's under the bridge. Like sorry, I didn't pay attention to that many. That wasn't in my head at all. That many people had died.
My counter thought to the whole thing was like, all right, Mel, if you don't give a shit about any of the characters, then how come when I watched a CG raccoon tell his CG tree friend that he was going to die for doing what he did, that I like basically started tearing up in the theater? I'm like, those characters don't even exist. Their performance is all motion capture, brother.
Yeah. Why was I so confused and distraught? Why was I so sad at the fact of what he was doing, yet a little upset that they changed the wording from "I am Groot" to "We are"? I was just genuinely confused at that moment. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways, back on track.
So in your face, Gibson.
Yeah, in your face.
But basically, let's just go down. Let's say the things we
do it.
Well, I mean, we're gonna because normally we say we're gonna do it one way, and then we go through. We talk about the entire movie blow by blow by blow by blow. Let's seriously try and stick to our formula of like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead. We can start at the ugly, but I personally don't have any ugly.
I don't.
I mean, I barely even have any bad. So there's no ugly. So let's get down to like the couple of things that if there is anything that miffed you, that miffed me.
No, there's no. I can't think of any bad, even honestly.
For me, Kaecilius is a Obadiah Stane level villain.
Okay.
He's so fucking Malekith. He's so weak and lame. Like he's a powerful dude, right?
Yep.
But like he just kind of sucks. Like he's just kind of bland and feels like a waste of Mads Mikkelsen throughout the whole movie.
I hate to just say as if I'm like hopping on your bandwagon, but when I literally just said like I don't have any bad, but no, it is a it's not the whole Marvel is a villain problem thing. It's just another, I think, criminally underrated actor getting a shit role again as a villain.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's tough because like when you do have the good villains in the Marvel movies, like they only get to stick around for like one. Like,
right.
I just recently rewatched Captain America 1. Hugo Weaving crushes it as Red Skull.
Super. And let's hope and pray that man comes back as Red Skull someday.
Yeah, I mean, he said he really did enjoy it. Like he originally said he never wanted to do the makeup again, but then I think after he saw how many dollar signs are in the Marvel universe, he's like, fuck, I probably should get on this shit.
Yeah.
But like my biggest gripe is the villain situation. And this, I don't want to say it is that Marvel is a villain problem because I actually like a lot of the villains.
Yeah, no, I know you do. We've had that discussion.
But Malekith just like he just sucks. Like everything about him is just like,
you mean Kaecilius.
Kaecilius,
here we go.
But like his dude, like his lackeys, none of them have a single line of dialogue in the whole movie. They just kind of grimace and
let alone do any of them really even do anything.
Yeah, they just kind of get the shit kicked out of them or kind of like stab a couple of people.
They were the flunkies, we'll just assume.
Yeah, like they're definitely lackeys and like and for the most part it's like Kaecilius is just like Dormammu promises everything. I'm doing this because Dormammu is the truth, and the Ancient One's a liar, and lies, people who lie are liars. And it's like, all right, fair enough. Yep. Cool.
You're the anti-government guy, aren't you?
Well, he's another one of these villains that, like, his gripes with what's going on could be solved in a conversation.
Oh, sure. Okay, great.
You know?
Yes, yeah.
And it's like, she takes power from
really
the dark
can.
dimension. And it's like, yeah, I do take power from the dark dimension, but
Sit down and talk with me about it. Like,
you know, it's like I do that, and here's why I have had to do it. Because, like, my point in time in history needs me to do these things so I can get to the point of naming the next Sorcerer Supreme. That's just how it works. And it's like, oh, cool. Am I the next Sorcerer Supreme? No, Kaecilius, you're not. That could then drive him to the next level. But, like,
you know, great point.
And I get that whole thing where it's
Is that the Dunners how I would have fixed it?
I mean, maybe, but like, it's such a small problem.
No,
it's such a good movie that it's like
a lot of validity to his opposition. Yeah.
He's definitely formidable, but at no point do I give a shit about what's going on with him. You know, so like that's my only real bad in the movie. Also, it also feels a little short. Like, to be perfectly honest, I could have used another 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I guess my only bad in that light would be that it felt rushed.
It did seem to like kind of scream right through the movie.
Yeah,
you know, and it felt like it could have had a little bit of breathing room. But I feel like they were worried too, because the same way that Ant-Man has to get zip bam boom, get right through the movie, Doctor Strange has to do that exact same thing, because they're like, we're starting to get into tier 2 guys now. Now, granted, before everyone freaks out, yes, Doctor Strange is a fucking A-lister, and I don't mean to disgrace and shit on the Sorcerer Supreme by saying he's a tier 2, but as far as the film universe goes, he most certainly is until we see more of him. You know, the same way that, like, Ant-Man was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go see Ant-Man in theater. Maybe I'll wait for it to come out on fucking iTunes. And then now, after you saw him kick fucking crazy ass in Civil War, it's like now Ant-Man's like, you got people like, I want to be Ant-Man for Halloween. It's like, I fucking love Ant-Man. Ant-Man's my favorite hero. And I'm like, for a long time, I was the only one fucking dug Ant-Man around these parts.
Right.
It feels a little weird to have other people on the bandwagon. But, so, like, I get why they fucking shuffled right through it, but at the same time, I was so into everything that was going on. Like, fuck, man, the opening of the movie is a dude getting his head fucking cut off.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
The opening of a movie is a dude getting like picked up, like straight up fucking.
Yes, it is. That's
getting
exactly
picked up straight up
is.
like Kali Ma style from Temple of Doom, and then they fucking lop his head off into a basket and steal some pages from this book.
Oh,
and
man.
And then a fucking monster fight scene erupts. Like, this movie just starts off with like, hey, guess what? Are you here? Are you sitting right down right now? Oh, your girlfriend's out in the lobby getting popcorn?
You better go get her.
She's a goddamn dummy. She's going to miss a lot of shit right now. Just like, you should have got that shit before the movie started.
Yeah.
You know, so like it just fires like, so yeah, it's definitely rushed a bit, but at the same time, Stephen Strange's watch cabinet is fucking dope.
Oh my god, with the spinny,
that most certainly is not a counterpoint, but I'll tell you what, that watch fucking just opens it up and all the watches in there. It's like, goddamn,
that boy got watches.
Stephen Strange got all of them watches, and you know, Rachel McAdams actually does a really, really good job in a role that isn't really written to do very much.
Yeah, well, and I guess, you know what, I'd file that one under my bad too. The romantic subplot, it just felt lacking.
You know, like, I feel like it felt lacking, but I felt like it served the story really well.
No, it did what it needed to do, but but it still followed that, like, just they played it safe.
It feels like the end of Act 2 of a romantic comedy where the dude has fucked up and he's trying to get her back.
Yes.
But like, I feel like, here's why I feel like it works beyond that, because he shows up and he's got the powers, and he fucking shows up astral projecting and like all this crazy shit, and she's like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on? And like, then it's like, oh yeah, I left the fucking portal in the broom closet, and look, I am really fucking sorry for what I did, but I gotta go. So like, see ya. Like, it's like he realizes that like he does love her and that she matters to him more than he has ever wanted to admit to himself, but at the same time, he's also in a position now where he can't be with her anymore because of the life he chose.
Right.
You know? And so like I really like that it starts off as kind of a cheesy, weak romantic subplot, and man is he fucking nasty to her when he like insults her and makes her leave his apartment. You know, it's just like, oh, you fucking scumbag.
Yes.
But like it's also really dope in the end when it's just like, oh yeah, I have to sacrifice for the people I care about and for the people that I don't know, because now I have to protect the entirety of the Earth from extra dimensional threats now.
Because I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
get
like
it now.
Not that his mind's eye is open or anything, but it's just that his journey to humanity has brought him to a place of understanding, which is kind of nice because like most of the heroes, their journey to like heroism isn't really a journey of understanding, it's a journey of coping. Like Captain America, it's dealing with the fact that he will never ever be as connected to the modern day as he was the time that he lived in, because everyone he knew and cared about is gone, with the exception of like 2 people. And even then, it's still difficult once he starts making new connections to friends that it's like you can see that he's distanced. Like that's neat for him. Like Tony, it's the idea of his heroism is like his challenge is like learning to let go of being the one who controls everything.
Yep.
And you know, and moving on. Black Panthers is a matter of trust. You know, Spider-Man is a matter of confidence. Like, there's all these different, you know, things that lead to it. And for like Doctor Strange, it's really neat because it's like sometimes you have to give up to win. You know,
yeah.
And that's what this whole movie is about for him, is that he has to give up to win.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it boils down to. Yep. Is you have to let go, or you'll never get what you need to get.
Agreed. And it's done in I think what we would both agree is maybe I don't want to say the greatest, but the most comical scene versus an adversary in any of the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, dude, the Dormammu scene is fucking dope. I said spoilers in the beginning. I don't give a shit. Like, we're going down that road.
Yep.
The Dormammu scene is not only is it a good, that is a fucking great. Because Dormammu's face, motion captured by Benedict Cumberbatch and voiced by someone else, fucking just spot on perfect to watch Dormammu have motions that mimic the way Doctor Strange looks.
It's so good.
And yeah, and just I've come to bargain, you've come to die, and then kills him, and then it's like, I've come to bargain, then you will, wait a minute. We've done this before. And then he's like, yeah, I brought a little something from my world, it's called time. And fucking starts fucking with him. And it's awesome because it's just like that whole sequence is dope where it's like, I can kill you forever. It's like, yep, you sure can. You can never win. That's right. But I can lose forever, which means you're my prisoner.
You're my prisoner.
And so then like he eventually kills him like 1,000 times, and then you just see Dormammu begging him to stop. And it's just like, oh, he's bent the Eater of Worlds. I know that's Galactus' thing, but MCU is most certainly moving Dormammu to that guy. You can see it. You can see the gears turning with the like. They literally like he devours galaxies and consumes worlds and then adds them to him for his own energy. I'm like, that sounds like fucking Galactus.
Sounds like somebody I know.
I mean, I know that's also kind of what he does in the Dark Dimension, but that is most certainly taking liberties with the fact that you're not getting fucking Galactus back.
Yep.
This is my friend, the Copper Snowboarder. Oh, come on, Marvel. The Copper Snowboarder? Like that's not a good. That's clearly you're just ripping off your own material. Someone please mock up the Copper Snowboarder and send it to us on Twitter. I want to see it.
Please.
But like, another huge good in this movie. The visual effects are all spot on, amazing. There's not a bad visual effect shot in the whole thing. It's fucking unreal, right?
Oh, 100%. My biggest thing as soon as I saw it was the magic. I think it was the first trailer they had shown where at the time we didn't know it, but now that we know, where he's learning that time spell, and he pulls his fist back and then almost puts it forward as if he was putting a glove on or a gauntlet, and you just see those rings, kind of fold back onto his forearm. And I was just like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is how I always imagined magic would look like. Like, fuck Harry Potter. Sorry, Harry Potter fans.
Let's not shit on the Potter, because Potter, like, I'll tell you what.
Sorry, but I can't with wands and shit. I just can't.
Hey. I am through the fucking roof excited for Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
I'm not going to yuck your yum because I'm excited.
I'm not saying that. I'm putting it out there for the other Flarkers where I want to go ahead and draw the line in the sand. I feel like Reed is very wrong for saying fuck Harry Potter. Continue.
I just imagine this type, like this type of magic, this shit, like, okay, because to that point, I guess, of what I'm trying to say is there are no verbal spells being cast. It's just done.
Right.
There are no Harry Hogs of Hogarth or whatever. There's none of that. It's just
no Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, there's none of that. Because I think it'd be a little bit awkward, to be honest with you. But so you just get straight on like motions that are super dope. And I don't know if you caught the conversations on the red carpet and behind the scenes about what they had looked at in order to get those hand motions done. Jay something on YouTube. Damn it, I am doing a grave injustice to this man right now. Shit, I'm gonna have to look it up, but I'll put it in the podcast notes. But Jay something on YouTube, and he does, I think it's called totting or something. Close to that.
Finger tutting.
Yeah, there you go. Finger tutting. Yeah. So that's what they found for this spellcasting shit in Doc Strange. And they give huge props to this guy who literally makes, they are not quality videos. Like, he's got to be doing these on, like, literally just the webcam on his laptop or something. But the man is extremely talented, and they tapped him to get after these spells and shit. But I guess my point is that this is such a, what I perceive to be what would be, if real, how that magic would be visualized, like just 3-dimensional. You're wearing it practically. It's not shooting out of something.
I still can't get the image out of my head of Tilda Swinton being like, we pull energy from other dimensions, and then like the diamond builds itself, and then the like two circles,
and she's
all the
talking and building
triangles.
it.
Yeah, and it's just like, and we use it and we assemble it to create magic, and then it's just like, and we use this magic to make spells, and then when she hits her hands forward, like all of it assembles out into like this weird clockwork pyramid, and it's just like, and it's like, oh, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
You
or
know,
even
and then
the
like
weapons, the I think what was the greatest nod maybe to even the cartoon movie and a lot of the earlier comics, like everybody had their own kind of niche weapon that had magic in it. And I didn't really catch that until after and thought about it, but I was like, yo, the Ancient One has her dope little, blades that she makes out of magic. Mordo,
fans, yeah, like
Mordo
her like
has
katana
his
fans.
staff and his boots. Yep. Wong had his little staff thing with the half moon on top. It was just it's if you guys haven't seen it,
even strange, we get a nod to him reaching for his battle axe,
Yes.
which he never grabs,
Yes.
but in a very comical moment, which leads me to another fucking monster good.
Go.
The cloak of levitation.
Oh.
It's like as our good friend Tucson, who was on the podcast before, who went and saw this with us, had said at the theater, it's the carpet from Aladdin, and it really fucking is. It's like,
yes.
And there are a couple of really fucking dope comic beats with the cloak of levitation. It's truly amazing in there. I mean, actually 3, because even the one where the cloak wipes his tears.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
it's pretty fucking, dope too.
Stop it!
Stop it! Stop!
So good.
So like I want to go into. I know I said that Kaecilius was my bad, but I want to talk about the other villain of the movie, Baron Mordo, and that this movie is beautiful because it's an origin of a hero, but it's also a very slick origin for the fall of another hero. And we get to watch Mordo go from being like this stoic, rigid, rules are rules and they're not to be broken, we do these things to maintain the order. We never do anything else. Ever. And then he finds out the Ancient One is breaking the rules, and then Doctor Strange fucking takes a big old steamy shit on the rules to save the universe. Because, you have to understand that sometimes the rules have to be broken.
Right.
To step forward. And that doesn't work with Mordo, and eventually he falls from grace, and it brings us to...
He takes a big old 180.
Yeah, and at the end, it's like, I refuse to be a part of this. And it's like, oh, cool, Mordo's going to go off on his own. And then we get the credit scene where he literally rips the magic out of someone else and absorbs it into himself, stealing their power. And it's just like, I found out what's wrong with the world. Too many sorcerers. And it's like, oh, sweet, Baron Mordo's going to become a fucking wizard hitman, is basically what he's going to do. And that's going to lead him and Strange into a huge confrontation once he's eaten enough, wizard souls, So it's like, that is really, for as bland as Kaecilius is, it's really awesome to watch Mordo. And it's really intriguing because Scott Derrickson has already said that if he gets to direct the next one, which an 80 million opening in the U.S. and 264 overseas.
He'll get to direct a second
320 million in its first week at the box office, doubling its overall cost to make the movie.
Yeah,
he's gonna get to do it, get to go again. But he said that the next villain most certainly wouldn't be Mordo.
No,
it would be Nightmare is what he wants to go with, and that would be really cool because
for the first movie he said, right? Yeah.
Yep. Because look at all the stuff that we talked about, like Mads Mikkelsen, when we first saw him on set, is like, dude, he looks just like fucking Nightmare. Like he looks like that. He looks a lot like him.
Magus, but
right. I mean, he looks like Magus, but like he also looks like the way Nightmare would look because Nightmare has not the burned out eyes, but the cloak like his.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that leads me to think that Mordo gets to further go along and exterminate wizards while
Strange is
dealing with the Nightmare realm, which is like, that's a really cool concept too. Or is it like, does Mordo show up and decide to align with Thanos, who's got a very rigid sense of how the universe works? Because if Thanos is going to come in and clear out all the sorcerers,
he's going to need some help.
And it would be very nice to have someone who also mimics your ideals of the universe needs to work one way, and it's the way that I want it to work, and no one gets to break any of those rules. And that plays perfectly to who Baron Mordo is. So like, there's a lot of really like neat things that are set in motion.
And that's the crazy thing, is Marvel is always setting up the long game. Always.
Right, and the weird thing is, like, it's tiring to hear people like, oh god, I fucking hate that it's just like a tease for another thing. It's like, it's not. It's a self-contained story that lives in a bigger universe, and like nobody's ever done this before.
Right.
Like, they're the only ones who've ever done this as successful as they have. They invented the concept. They're doing all this amazing shit. Just like, take it easy about what they're doing. And we got Easter eggs in this one. All of us in the theater thought the whole Colonel inside the experimental armor
was Rhodey.
Was Rhodes, and it's not.
No.
Because it's like, oh, it's a Marine colonel, and Rhodes most certainly isn't 35 years old.
No. Well, and because of the timeline, this is supposed to take place at the end of Civil War. The beginning of Doc Strange is taking place at the end of Civil War, so it would have been a few years after Civil War when they had mentioned
a few months.
Yeah,
not a few years, a few months.
It is. Yeah,
but the interesting one is though
the lightning.
The lightning striking is supposedly.
Well, so to finish though on the spinal, that colonel, it's what they refer to as spinal injury. So we're assuming, given that there's no confirmation on it, that it was from Iron Man 2. Where Hammer has Guy in the mech suit and just takes a full 180 and
exactly, or it's something else,
else, 100%.
Something down the line where maybe we finally get to see a Crimson Dynamo.
Oh man, don't hold your breath.
Probably never ever gonna ever happen. Maybe we get to see Whirlwind.
Oh Lord.
But then the other big one that Kevin Feige alluded to was like, they talk about a woman with schizophrenia with a brain implant to control it, being struck by lightning, fusing the brain implant into her brain, and having some kind of weird side effects happening to her. And they've already said that Captain Marvel is going to have a different origin than she gets hit by a bomb while her and Captain Marvel are in the same area, fusing them together into one person. They're gonna go because they said they're not gonna do her comic book origin because it's really similar to a Green Lantern origin. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I get that, but like struck by lightning is like that's fucking Flash's origin.
Yeah, and like, I look at me. I'm just stumbling for words. I just don't understand how this would create one of the strongest, most powerful characters in the entirety of the Marvel Universe. I mean, the fucking entirety.
A lady with schizophrenia gets struck by lightning, fusing her implant into her brain, merging all of her personalities together.
But she's not
she
even... She
becomes Captain Marvel.
Like, I don't understand where that comes into play. Like, what... This has to be something else.
I mean, it could be a really good misdirect. It really
has
could.
To be, because there's... I don't... And granted, I'll give it to Marvel. They can spin anything the way they want to, and because they've done a great job thus far. I have nothing to discredit them on, but I just do not see how a schizophrenic female with something in her brain to prevent the schizophrenia becomes Captain Marvel. Like, Captain Marvel is set on her values and her morals and what she, you know, sees the world as. And I mean, fuck, she's an Air Force pilot. She's everything. I don't get it. There's no way that this is my Carol Danvers. No way.
Not my Danvers.
Not my Danvers. Hashtag not my Danvers.
Hashtag not my Danvers. To round out, just to go through like the nuts and bolts. Yeah. It's really well shot. It's really well edited. We talked about the pace being a little bit too fast. The sound's amazing. The 3D is amazing. The visual effects are amazing. So like just on a visual level, you're in for a fucking treat because like when he goes through all these different dimensions, you see him pass through the microverse from Ant-Man. Yep. Shout out to the Ant-Man. Ooh. You get to see him fly through like the dark dimension and through all these different places. And then you also get to like these just awesome in the mirror realm. You get to see this mind-bending chase through turbo bent New York. And like New York is just bent and folding in on itself and folding in on itself, and it was amazing. Oh, it was so good.
The most amazing is when he tries to trap him in the mirror dimension. He's just like, "Yo, you made a mistake, bro."
Yeah,
you put me in an infinite possibility of folding things. Like,
yeah, it's like they draw their power from the dark dimension. The mirror dimension is linked to the dark dimension. They're more powerful here. You fucked up, son. It's like, that ain't tight.
No,
that's not dope. But, like, really go see it. Benedict Cumberbatch knocks it out of the park. Benedict Wong knocks it out of the park. Chiwetel Ejiofor fucking crushes it. Mads Mikkelsen does as good as he can with a character that isn't very good.
Yep.
Rachel McAdams, her character's good. I like it. But, like, at the same time, it's just they don't give her much to do.
Yeah,
but she makes her time count.
How she actually ends up turning into Night Nurse, because we have that confirmation now that she will be. So I don't know how they're going to get from point A to point B, but I have all the confidence in the world that they will get there.
I'm truly hoping that her and Claire Temple join forces to create like the Night Nurse like group. Like those two together.
Force,
yeah, because I mean they're both in New York, so you know they gotta make it happen. So
that's true.
But what can you say? What could be done? But I mean, that's, you know, really a glowing review from us. We're gonna save you, like we said, from going through plot point by plot point to really bring it home. But it's fucking awesome. Go check it out. And that's the Flarker stamp of approval on Doctor Strange. So
100%. Do what that man just said.
So I mean that's really it this week. We really wanted to dedicate it to Doctor Strange, and we'll be back next week with, you know, your regularly scheduled lots of extra stuff about probably a lot of the Defender stuff, because now that's starting to unfurl, as well as some new comic book stuff and some video game stuff.
A lot of news on that.
Yeah, because I think we got some. What is the big game coming out this week? I know you got Titanfall and you got Gears, and I got Gears, which I fucking loved. I already beat that fucker solo on Insane, and I loved
Gears
it.
I'm
it was
having
great.
Some audio issues with. I got to reload. I think I got to delete it and reload it. None of the campaign audio is coming through, which is very weird. I thought it was my headphones, but it's all of audio.
That's super weird.
It is, given that I Googled it and nobody had anything to say about it. So I'm like, must be something on the install. But anyways, no, nothing from me this week. I don't think. I'm waiting for Final Fantasy 15. But yeah. Yeah, games.
I want to play the stacking one, the Final Fantasy one where they put like little chibi versions of monsters, like the Pokemon Final Fantasy game that came out. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
That's the one I'll probably get next.
You let me know how that is then, because I'm interested. I'm just not willing to drop the money on it yet.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So who knows?
Certainly.
But
we're due for a game-filled podcast soon, so we'll get back to you guys on that.
We'll be talking about probably games next week for the most part. Maybe we'll sneak in a guest friend who likes to play video games.
Ooh.
You know, who knows? Who knows who that could be or when that could happen ever to anyone ever in the history of ever. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, we really appreciate you guys sharing the podcast. We've seen the listening counts go boosting up through the roof on the other stuff, and the YouTube starting to grow. So please keep at it by telling all your friends that, like, if you really like podcasts, we need to be in your Rolodex of weekly listens, etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm Dunners. He is Reej. We are the Best Flarking Podcast, part of the Best Flarking Network, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.